Computer Science A, Unit 1, Primitive Types, Lesson 6, Numeric Casts. The objectives here are to perform casts between int and double data types in both directions. Understand the difference between a widening conversion and a narrowing conversion. This lesson introduces casting, the process of converting one data type to another. In the last lesson, we worked around the non-intuitive way Java handles integers by adding a double value to the equation. Here we declared int x receives the value 9. We declared y as an integer and gave it the value 2. Then double z. We have z as a double, and we started out the operation with 1.0 times x divided by y. This caused x and y to temporarily be converted or promoted to the double data type. Therefore, when we did the system.out.println, the output actually used the double version and became 4.5 as opposed to 4.0. We can achieve the same effect by casting x to a double. What does that mean? Well, double z is set to, in parentheses, we put the word or the type double in front of one of the variables, in this case x. This temporarily makes x, puts the little baggy x into a big baggy x, and then performs double arithmetic. Casting temporarily changes a variable from one data type to another. This can be done to move a data type into a bigger box, a widening conversion, or to move a data type into a smaller box, which would be called a narrowing conversion. In the previous example, is a widening conversion. We're putting an int into a bigger double box so that when it's divided by 2 and needs to have room for a decimal bit, it has one. Java does not throw an error if we don't cast in that case, but we don't get the result that we expect either. 9 divided by 4 or 7 divided by 2, we expect a decimal. So if we don't cast, it's okay, it's just going to chop off, but we're not going to get what we think. So in this first case, you declare x as a double, but you divide it, but the division is 7 divided by 2, so you only get 3, or 3.0. It has 3 and then it just truncates the rest. Now, if we declare y as a double and then we divide 7 by 2, but we cast 7 as a double, now we're going to get our 3.5. Here, it's very similar up here, and it looks like we cast correctly, but we didn't. Remember, you always start on the inside and work out. So 7 divided by 2 will do integer division. So integer 7 divided by 7 is 3. And then when we cast that 3 to a double, we get 3.0. So this again right here, this, you might put that in thinking you're doing it right and thinking you should get the 3.5. You're not, because it's going to do the inside and then move to the outside. Int a, here the funny thing is double 7. So now I've got 7.0 divided by 2 is 3.5. But I'm trying to put 3.5 into an integer bag, and I don't have any room for decimals, so it just gives me an error. I can't take something bigger and shove it into a smaller bag. Okay? Can't do that. You would get a type mismatch. Casting is a temporary change. Okay? Casting is a temporary change. Up here, if I cast this onto a variable, it won't change it permanently. Whatever the variable is still what it is. It's just for this operation. Narrowing conversions are different than widening. If we don't explicitly cast when moving from a larger data type into a smaller one, we will get an error. Even when we do cast, Java gives us a warning of possible lossy conversion. That's because if we change from a double to an int, we lose information. We have lossy data, okay? The possibility doesn't mean it's lost. You know, 6 divided by 2 is 3. We haven't lost anything. But 6 divided by 4 is not just 1. So it tells us possible loss. We need to cast to tell Java what we are doing so intentionally. Okay? X is set to 3.5. That's an error. It's an error because I can't put 3.5 into a tiny bag. On the other hand, if I have Y and I set it to int 3.5, it's going to cast 3.5, it's going to chop it off, and it's going to put 3 into Y. And that's okay. Int Z is set to int 3.99. I'm going to still get 3. It's important to remember that when Java converts to a double, or converts a double to an int, it truncates it. It does not round it. It just chops it off and loses it or throws it away. Okay? That is the end of lesson 6.